What's happening, everybody? Steve here, Rake and Profit over at rakeandprofit.com. Coming back to you with another video. Let me get my webcam adjusted a little bit. Hope you are all having a fantastic day. And the title of today's video, and I'm actually live right now, is the prediction Jeff Bezos got completely wrong. So we're all living in a very interesting time right now, a very, very interesting time. And there's a lot of businesses right now who are they're suffering, and there's a lot of people who are suffering, but there are some businesses right now that are surprisingly crushing it. And I wanted to share with you an email that I just recently sent out because it's very interesting what's transpired as of late with Amazon. And if you are watching live right now, be sure to drop a comment. I see Heather in the house. What's up, Heather? What's going on, Spencer? What's going on, everybody? So I recently sent out this email. If you're an email newsletter subscriber, then you may have received it. If not, I wanted to, I got my Amazon thingamajiggy going off right now, but I did want to go over this because this is really neat stuff right now. What's up, every day? I'm hustling. Good to see you. We got 28, 29, 30, a bunch of people flowing in right now. Hey, Renee, good to see you. Heather says, I miss everybody from the Green Room meetup this year. I know. It's crazy with the COVID and the pandemic, and it's going to be interesting to see how things transpire over the next couple of years. What's up, Zach? Good to see you. Lisa. Lisa's representing Connecticut. I miss Connecticut. Anthony, what's up? Thrifty Luhu, what's going on? So I want to read this article because it's very interesting. Before the pandemic had occurred, Jeff Bezos had actually come out with a statement, and it was in early April. Jeff Bezos warned all Amazon investors to prepare for the stock price to drop, right? So the whole COVID pandemic thing started in March. So he was up front and was like, listen, prepare for a price drop. He says, I'm planning on spending all $4 billion in expected profits that Amazon's going to be taking in over the next 90 days, purely on COVID-19 related expenses. And all the investors, everybody who was, part of the Amazon company, but mostly investors. And back then the Amazon stock was, I believe around $2,000 a share. And it dropped down to $1,900, $1,800. I believe it even got down to $1,700. People were scared. They were bracing themselves for, a potential loss of billions of dollars. But the opposite happened, as you know. And Amazon, since March, April, May, June, July, August, now we just moved into September, they've doubled their profits during the pandemic. I want to know in the comments right now, type a 1 when it was March. What were you thinking? What did you think was going to happen? Because, the stock market was dropping like a knife. People were freaking out. Everyone was panicking. What did you think was going to happen at the time? I want to go into the comments really quick. What's up, Mary? Free bikes. Good to see you. Kevin saying there's so many issues with Amazon lately. There are a ton of issues. We'll actually talk about that shortly. I know, Heather, this beard is, it's that post-pandemic or whatever you want to call it beard. I gotta shave this. But, everybody was kind of panicking and worried about what was going to happen with the economy, so on and so forth. And like I said, interestingly enough, Amazon doubled their profits. And the reason this happened is because people love shopping online. Nobody was visiting stores. Everybody was staying indoors. And, while so many businesses got crushed during this, and it truly breaks my heart. I mean, just looking around and, I'm here in Miami walking down the streets. I mean, it's just business closed after closing after closing. Business is down. Some of these businesses, I wonder, how the heck are they operating? And it really proved, that Amazon is essentially pandemic proof. It's one of the businesses that, it's crazy. So many businesses were disrupted, but Amazon, they not only fought through it, but they doubled. So I'm actually going to read a part of this email that I just sent out. And it says, the only real big question mark was if Amazon could support the disruption. And it turns out they could. For example, Amazon itself handled shipping on 2/3 of its products recently and plans on doing shipping for 80% of itself by 2021. So what's this have to do with you? Everything. You see, even though Amazon doubles its profits initially, it represents only a small fraction of the growth it anticipates having by end's year. or year's end. I'm sorry. And here's the thing. Most Amazon sales don't come from their own products. It comes from third-party sellers. And that's what I want to mention in this video. A lot of us, we're spending our money on Amazon. We're being consumers and we're buying items, but you can actually take a piece of this pie by becoming an Amazon seller. If you're selling on eBay right now, or Mercari, or Etsy, or just Facebook Marketplace, look into Amazon. And if you've seen any of my recent videos, I explained, why I'm doing what I'm doing and my new shift in my business, but I've been focusing on starting a wholesale business. And I also want to talk a little bit about that during this video, because I've been making some really great progress in my wholesale business. And last week we were making some phone calls. And when I say we, I have a coach. I'm working with the Wholesale Formula. You guys may or may not know about that program. It's not open right now. I'm not trying to pitch you on it, but I'm going through the Wholesale Formula course. I have a coach, and we were making some phone calls, and we actually, I think it was only our second or third phone call to a brand, and we got accepted, and we're going to be able to sell their products. So I'm not sure if I'm going to move forward with that brand. I'm still analyzing, going through the catalog, but there's definitely a couple items that have some really good potential. So I've shifted my focus away from eBay at this time, away from, flipping items from thrift stores and garage sales, and it's still great. But due to my current situation, I'm living here in Miami. I'm at the 48th floor. It's really tough for me to do eBay, and just being so busy in my business and running various businesses, I'm really, excited to take advantage of this with wholesale. So if you have any questions about how my journey is going, feel free to drop a comment down below. But it's just really exciting times right now. We should all be so grateful and blessed for being in the e-commerce space, especially if you're on Amazon, but even with eBay or anything digital marketing related. There's so many people who are they're really suffering. It breaks my heart. And we need to be grateful for this opportunity we have to be in the position to serve people digitally through the internet, by selling products online. It's really great. What's up, Paul? Heather says, moving on up. It's been a great learning experience, learning wholesale. I want to know who in the comments right now, put a 1 in the comments if you are currently selling wholesale. Heather says, every grandma knows how to buy jars on Amazon now. That's hilarious. I learned a lot about Zoom lately. I'd never used Zoom. I always used Google Hangouts, and I always use just YouTube, but now, I'm using Zoom because of this pandemic, and it forces you to grow and learn. Paul says, totally agree. I'm doing Amazon here in the UK and doubling my income because I do eBay and Amazon. Yeah, Amazon's definitely a great opportunity. And matter of fact, if you want to learn about Amazon and how to take advantage of this, especially wholesale, we actually are hosting a free webinar on Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern. So I'll put a link down to that down below. I'm actually, my good friend Jason is hosting it. He's one of the #1 Amazon trainers in the world. He's been crushing it for years. So definitely check that out if you want to learn more about that. Every day I'm hustling says wholesale is the key to doing amazing things. So I actually want to share with you my criteria for wholesale products. Who here has ever purchased a wholesale product, or who here wants to know? Type yes in the comments if you want to know what my criteria is in terms of how I'm finding leads and how I'm then essentially going to the next step, which is emailing these brands and calling them. So if you're interested, let me know, and I'll drop. There's 4 things that I look for in a wholesale product right now. And I do want to mention, a lot of people think when you get into wholesale on Amazon, you're going to be dealing with like Nike and Samsung and these huge brands and Honeywell and just dealing with Brother printers and these huge brands. And it's actually quite the opposite. Most of the brands that we're calling, that I'm emailing, that I'm landing deals with, well, at least trying at this moment, they're brands that you've never heard of before. And to my surprise, there's literally hundreds of thousands of brands that you can build relationships with and sell their wholesale products that you've never heard of before. I can tell you right now, since I've been going through the Wholesale Formula program and, I've been applying everything and I've been, researching products and reaching out to brands, you can literally find probably 1,000 brands today that are selling $25,000 to $50,000 a month of products that you've never heard of before. It's mind blowing. And I'm not blowing smoke up here. You know what? It's insane how many people are crushing it on Amazon at least from a vendor standpoint of selling products that you've never heard of before. You've never heard of it before. So Giggles too, Kimberly Wilson, Anthony saying, yes, let me know. So I'll share that with you right now. So there's 4 things that I look for. Okay. And it's called my 4-point product checklist. And I learned this from the Wholesale formula. Number 1, the Amazon price of the product has got to be $20 or more. And the reason you want it to be $20 or more is because there's quite a bit of fees. And if you have like an item that sells for $10 versus $20, the fees are still very similar. So it's hard to turn a profit. And when you're estimating, like your cost of goods on a product, when you're looking at a product, a lot of people ask, you want to take into consideration keystone pricing. So I'll share with you in another video exactly how to do this. But typically when you're going through wholesalers, if you see an item on, I'm just thinking of a random item, I don't know, some type of, I just had a smoothie or a microphone, right? Whatever. Say it's selling on Amazon for 40. Typically keystone pricing is 50% of that. So about $20 for it. So when you're running your numbers and whatnot, you typically want to run them on keystone pricing and then go from there based on negotiations. But number 1, Amazon price of the product is $20 or more. So when I'm going through my process, and I have a video coming out, matter of fact, I think I'm going to post it today. I did it with Dan and Dylan of the Wholesale Formula. We actually went into the computer and we sourced live, and we actually found, you're going to want to watch that video that's coming soon, because we actually found a really good product that has good opportunity for someone who wants to dig into it. We left it open for you guys. $20 minimum. Okay. So we're looking for products that are $20 minimum. This isn't part of the 4-point checklist, but I'll just mention it. Products that you don't know the brand of, like you don't want to go after products that are super duper popular with thousands of reviews. At least a strategy that I'm learning and going forward with. You want to focus on brands that you've never heard of before. Maybe they have like less than 500 reviews. Some of this stuff I'm just kind of tailoring based on what I've been learning. But you typically don't want brands that are like huge, big brands. You want brands you've never heard of before. So $20 minimum price. Number 2, Amazon is not the seller. You do not want, I'm telling you right now, you do not want to sell products on Amazon as a wholesaler when Amazon's on the listing. And the reason this is true is the way sales work. And right now it's a little different because everything's whacked out with COVID on Amazon. But typically the way things work on Amazon is there's what's known as a buy box. So when you go to an Amazon listing, there might be 10 people on the listing. Amazon's going to rotate the competitive offers in the buy box, which means when someone hits buy it now, whoever's in the buy box is going to get that sale. Most people don't hit sellers and then like choose the best price. They just hit what's in the buy box. So usually when things are working correctly, Amazon will rotate the sellers in the buy box so everyone gets equal sales as long as they're a competitive offer. Now, if Amazon's on the listing, then Amazon's going to take all the sales. They're going to say, screw you, third-party sellers. We're not giving you any sales. We're Amazon. Not only do we have all the data, so we private label all the products that are doing well, but when we find a product we can't private label or we don't care to private label, we're going to screw all the third-party sellers and take all the sales. So do not compete with Amazon. So in future videos, again, I'm going to share with you, there's so many techniques you can actually utilize to go source products. But once you're like in the sourcing phase and you're looking at products, number 1, you want the product to be $20 or more. Number 2, you do not want Amazon on the listing. They are fierce. They're going to take all the sales from you. Okay. Number 3, the brand owner is not the only seller. So when you look on a listing, if you see only one seller, you want to stay away from it because it typically means one of 2 things. Number 1, it's a private label seller and they don't need your help as a wholesaler. If you've watched any of my other videos, I've discussed why brands want to work with people like myself or people like you to wholesale products. There's a lot of reasons. Mostly comes down to brands are focused on building the brand. They're not focused on selling on Amazon. There's a lot that goes into selling on Amazon. So I've been looking for products that have usually maybe 3 or more sellers. And I actually use a Chrome extension called TWF Scope that will automatically, the Chrome extension will pull up on your listing and it'll tell you how many competitive sellers there are. And when it comes to like estimating how many sales, which is number 4, what I'm going to talk about, I want at least 20 sales equity per month, which means let's just say there's 9 people on a listing and they're all competitive offers. That means 1, they're all FBA sellers, and 2, they're all priced within 2% of the buy box price. If you're going to be the 10th competitive seller and there's 1,000 sales, each person's going to get 1/10 of that. So each person's going to get 100 sales. that's typically how it works. Right now, there's a lot of weird things happening with Amazon in the buy box due to COVID and distribution issues with the fulfillment centers. But typically the buy box will rotate evenly amongst the competitive sellers, which are going to be, again, within 2% of the buy box price and FBA sellers. So I want to get at least 20 sales per month based on how I'm estimating things. And I use Jungle Scout Estimator. I also use the Jungle Scout Chrome extension to estimate how many sales are going on. And then I use Keepa to track sales history, so on and so forth. So that's the 4-point product checklist. And if you want to learn more about this and wholesale and everything, check out my channel, type in wholesale. Also, we have a webinar going down this Thursday, 100% free. And it's with my buddy, Jason. So definitely check the link down below and sign up for that. But it's really not that challenging to find leads, wholesale leads. The challenging part, which I've been going through right now, and it's just part of the learning process, is, making the phone calls and emailing the companies and talking with them. So I'm not going to go super in depth into that right now because I'm not an expert with it. But essentially, I've been calling up and doing one of two things. Number one, asking them how they're doing on Amazon. So essentially finding out how these brands are doing on Amazon. Are they struggling? Are they trying to kick off sellers? Are they having a hard time making sales? Do they wish they had someone to help with keyword research? Do they wish they had someone to help them with their listings, so on and so forth? So I'm just listening and finding out what's wrong, if they're happy, if they're unhappy, and if they have problems and challenges. I'm essentially coming on as an Amazon expert, which, I'm learning more and more each day. And finding solutions for them, giving them tips, trying to help them, trying to add value to them, and then essentially asking them for permission to sell their wholesale products, which is essentially in turn you saying, hey, I'd like to sign up for see how I can get a wholesale dealer account. What's the process? And then finding out if they have any rules for Amazon sellers, if they have MAP pricing, so on and so forth. So that's the process that I'm going through right now. But there's literally thousands and thousands and thousands of brands on Amazon that you can add value to, that you can help, that you can make a difference in their business and their lives and land those deals. So Louis is saying, how many products do you currently wholesale? I'm wholesaling. I don't have any products right now. I just started this business less than a month ago. So if you've been following my YouTube channel, Louis, you might not have. I released about 3 weeks ago that I'm starting my business. So I went through the whole process of opening up a second Amazon account, which if you're interested in knowing why, I'll explain. I set up my LLC. I set up my new Amazon account. I got my reseller certificate. I went through the wholesale formula course, which Dan and Dylan are my mentors. I went through that, hired a coach, going through the whole process, setting everything up. And now I'm at the steps where I've already built up about 200 leads. And now I'm making phone calls and sending emails. So I'm going through the process right now, Louis. It's exciting. It's a learning curve. And there's so much that I could explain right now if you guys have questions. Every day I'm hustling says it's super easy to find wholesalers. It is. The challenging part is landing the wholesalers and finding the wholesalers that have products that you can profitably sell. Let me just go up to the questions. What's up, B Slayas? So buy low, sell high is asking, you order wholesale and you store in your warehouse. So again, I landed my first account, but I haven't actually taken and gone through and purchased the wholesale products yet and gone through the process. But what my plan is going to be is I'm going to be utilizing prep centers. So again, this is still a learning process for me, and I'm excited to document this. If anyone watched who here has watched any of my salsa updates, my salsa dancing updates on Instagram, the first week or two, the first month, I was absolutely horrible. I didn't even know how to do a basic step. I didn't know how to do a crossbody turn. I didn't know how to do a right turn, left turn. It was ridiculous. It was embarrassing. And that's kind of how I am right now. And a lot of people might be watching like, Steve, why are you coming on giving advice and sharing this? And it's I want to do this for one of two reasons. One, to prove that any idiot can do this. And two, to be able to look back over time and kind of document this journey. And I think, I don't know, type a 1 in the comments if you think there's any value in someone just coming on raw and generic and sharing the journey, right? So that's why I'm doing this. But essentially, I'm going to be utilizing prep centers, buy low, sell high. And what that means is I'm going to have a company prepping all my Amazon items. So I'm either going to have when I put my first deal together with a wholesaler, I'm either going to have one of two things happen. I'm going to have the wholesaler ship directly to Amazon for me, or if they're not willing to do that, I'm going to have the wholesaler ship to a prep center, and then the prep center is going to receive my items. They're going to prep it all, and then they're going to ship it to Amazon for me. So my plan's not to touch any products. That may or may not change on a slight level if I decide to place some test orders. I'm not sure if I could place test orders and send them to prep centers. And you might be wondering, why would you want to set up a test order? Just because instead of me having to spend $3,000 or $5,000 ordering a bunch of product and not knowing if it's going to work, even though there's ways to, how do I say that? There's things that you can do to assure that they're going to sell. Right now is a weird time with wholesale because there's some buy box issues. So I might do some testing a little bit beforehand. I don't know if that makes sense, but prep centers. Zach is saying, you got any tips on how to start wholesaling? I've been selling a ton of stuff in bulk. I get stuff from Walmart, Amazon, and Target. So stock is limited. I did 100K in sales last month. Wow. Well, I would definitely sign up for the webinar this Thursday, Zach. That's really going to help you out a lot. That'll open up your eyes to the opportunity and how to get started. But watch my last couple of videos that I posted. I mean, to start wholesale, it's really not that hard. You are going to need to set up an LLC, I would recommend, but again, talk to a tax professional, and you're going to need a reseller certificate, right? Because wholesalers are going to want that. And then it's essentially, it comes down to twofold. Number one, sourcing, right? So you have to learn how to source products. I've got a video that's coming out a little later on today, Zach, and I go literally into my screen with Dan and Dylan, who have done over $30 million in sales with wholesale. And we show you exactly how to source, exactly how to find profitable wholesale brands that you could reach out to. And then you just got to start reaching out to them. And, you need to have a script, you need to have a plan. And then once you do, you have to learn how to analyze, wholesale deals. You have to understand how many you're selling per month. You have to understand the competition. And then you got to figure out the shipping and everything, but it's really not that challenging. But that's why, I went through the wholesale formula, because while it's it's actually a really stupid, simple model. There's like 1,000,001 things in between. And I'm just not educated enough personally to articulate it very well, but hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Definitely doesn't. What's up, Lexi? Great to see you. Staying in your own lane. I love that. I love that name. Let's see. Lexi is saying, how hard is it to make enough profit? So I've noticed from my research, typically the profit margins are going to be between 20 and 30% with wholesale. So they're not huge. If you're coming from drop shipping, then you're like, yeah, that's amazing. But if you're coming from thrifting, or if you're coming from, garage sales, or just typical like RAOA, the margins aren't going to be as pretty. But the beautiful thing about wholesale is it's a lot of upfront work. So you've got to obviously do all your product research. You've got to call brands, build relationships. There's a ton of upfront work. And then there's putting together the deal, negotiating, getting everything shipped in. But the great thing is, and this is what attracted me so much to this business model of wholesale, is once you have that relationship and they open up their catalog to you and you have products that are profitable. And one thing I would recommend is work with brands that sell on Amazon that aren't so easy, right? This is going to be such a bad example, but it's almost like, God, I don't know if I should say this example. I don't know. Say you're looking for a hookup, right? And you're going out on a Friday or Saturday and you want to hook up. Do you want to hook up with the guy or the girl who's willing to hook up with anybody and everybody? You got to worry about what you're going to catch. What are you going to come home with? What's it going to be like waking up the next day? Who's going to be there? Who's not, right? Maybe they're married. Or would you rather hook up with somebody who is a little hard to get, who doesn't sleep around? I don't know why I'm going to this example right now, but it's the same with Amazon. Like, dealing with brands, like you don't want to deal with a brand who just lets anybody sell as a wholesaler, because it's going to get flooded with other wholesalers. And then there's going to be a fight to the bottom. And some brands, when you sell, there's something called MAP pricing, which means they set rules. You can only price between 22 and 23, which is great because now you assure that the profits stay there. So if that makes sense, let me know. If you think I'm a lunatic for that example, I don't care, because it's true. You don't want to hook up with someone who just hooks up with anybody. It's the same with Amazon wholesale. Every Day I'm Hustling says you can get banned very quickly selling on Amazon if you make a mistake. Yeah, you can get banned quickly on eBay as well if you make a mistake. So there's definitely a lot more rules on Amazon, but there's a lot more upside, I believe. And one of the best things I love about wholesale is you have a wholesale invoice. A lot of times people are getting banned because of trademark infringements, and they're not allowed to really sell the product, and the brand's trying to kick them off, and they're gated, and there's issues like that, or they're saying it's counterfeit. When you sell wholesale, you get a wholesale invoice. So you give that directly to Amazon. So it doesn't matter what brand you're trying to sell. If it's restricted, you tell the brand, hey, can I get a test sample or can I get an invoice before I buy? I want to put this through on Amazon's end so I get ungated, and bada bing, bada boom, you're selling that product. Sunshine Me says, love that example. Oh man, it's been a crazy time. Staying in your own lane says, I appreciate the love. I tried to go for something unique. I love selling unique products. Every Day I'm Hustling says, I would also want to see my wholesale products before it does to Amazon as well as against prep centers. They make a mistake and boom, you're in trouble. Yeah, but you could also make a mistake as well, and you have to leverage your time. I feel like I'm very seasoned. Like I'm willing to outsource probably way more than the average person because I have, I work with over 10 people in my business. I outsource so many things. I mean, so many things I outsource in my businesses, like you wouldn't believe it. And the trust that you have to have and the thick skin that you have to build when you start working with a team is, you have to build that trust, and you have to understand that there's only so much time in the day. And I don't know what your schedule looks like. But I think a lot of it comes down to, getting referrals for prep centers and doing your research, doing your homework, giving them a call. And a lot of times I've noticed things get messed up in your business when you're outsourcing because you don't take the upfront time to be clear in terms of what you want to achieve, what your goals are, exactly what you need. It's the times that we get lazy when we're outsourcing and things, shit the fan, right? Pardon my French, but it's just the way it is. So I've got a lot of friends of mine who are successful with wholesale who are utilizing prep centers. A lot of them are doing multiple 7 figures a year plus. So that's just one of those things, but I would definitely look into, prep centers or outsourcing eventually. Hey, what's up, Robert? Robert's saying, watch out for stocking too much. If Amazon sees a product selling well, they will try to get on it. It happened to me on a dog toy and they undercut the price so much I could no longer make money. So one of the things that I've been learning a lot about when you're reaching out to brands and you're reaching out to companies to buy wholesale is you want to first and foremost, make sure you look at the listing and make sure Amazon's not on the listing. You can use Keepa to see the history of Amazon jumping on or off the listing. Sometimes they get a couple things just like from returns or whatever, and they sell it. That's a little different than if they're actually on the listing for an extended period of time. And you see, like, for example, the other day we called up a company. I think it was called Grandma's Soap. I think it was called Grandma's Soap. You could look them up. And they're actually accepting wholesalers right now. We got approved, but we realized the next day Amazon was on the listing, and we were like, what the heck? Why is Amazon on the listing? And they had over 980 units in stock. And then they had a bunch of variations as well. This company, Grandma's Soap, and they were on all the listings with like tons of product. And that's bad for a couple of reasons. One, Amazon's not going to share the buy box. And two, Amazon will cut your throat. They really will. Like Robert's saying, they will undercut everybody. When you're wholesale, it doesn't matter. You're not beating Amazon. So you want to, I guess what I'm trying to say, guys and gals, is ask the brands, listen, do you sell to Amazon? And then you want to explain to them why you don't want to sell to Amazon, because Amazon's ruthless. Amazon's going to keep cutting the price. They don't follow map pricing at all, which is, again, rules that the brand set up for pricing. Not all of the brands do this. So Robert, I would just stay away from Amazon in general. This is for wholesale I'm talking about. Usually Amazon when they're on the listing. So a lot of people are probably wondering, like, why did I never know about this before when I was doing retail arbitrage or thrifting? Mostly thrifting. It's because we're selling used products. Amazon's not on the listing for used for the most part. They're on for new. So that's what you have to worry about. Kimberly says, I'm so excited you decided to go to wholesale. Awesome job. I appreciate it. Every Day I'm Hustling says normal margins on wholesales around 10 to 20% after using prep centers, 5% to 8%. So are you saying, I mean, I have friends of mine who are running, 6 to 7 figure wholesale operations doing the method I'm sharing. They don't have 5 to 8% margins. They don't. There are some products where they're only making 10 to 12%, but for the most part, it's, 20% plus. And if you're smaller, you can easily get up to 30%, depending on the product. I don't want to say easily, but you got to find the right product. So prep centers, I wouldn't say prep centers cut into the margins that much. For my research, it's about $1 or $2 per unit. So I guess it just depends on what you're going after and if there's enough room, on the bone. So Lexi's saying, have you ever developed a product idea? I haven't done private label. Every Day I'm Hustling says, only issue I have is location of wholesalers. If you buy from a solid distributor, you can sell anything they have, basically. The thing with dealing with distributors is the margins are really typically low because you have a middleman. The reason why I'm doing my method of wholesale is I'm going directly to the brand. I'm cutting out the middleman. Okay. So yeah, just want to come to you guys with some value. Starting Your Lane says, I'm new to reselling. I've been doing it for almost 9 months now, just from garage sales and thrift stores. And you're really inspired me with the wholesale game. I really want to get into it now. Well, check out the webinar going down Thursday. I've got a link down in the description. And if you go to rakeandprofit.com/free guides, I'll update it now. I've got 2 free wholesale guides that can help you out a lot. You'll just have to, let me type that in, free. Okay, I can't even talk English. 2 free wholesale guides. You just have to go to rakeandprofit.com/free guides. And I just updated that. You'll just have to refresh the page. It should jump in the description. Get those guides. There's a product sourcing checklist that covers everything that I mentioned with the 4 criteria you want to look for. And then it goes more in depth, share some tools and software, and a 6-step wholesale guide. So get those. And when you do, I also promote my free Facebook group. I just started a free Amazon wholesale mastermind on Facebook. It's a group. We've got about, I think, 185 people in there so far. And I'm just sharing my journey, giving a lot of tips and stuff. So if you want to stay posted with this journey, if you want to learn from someone who's starting from scratch, who isn't starting with millions of dollars, who isn't starting with tons of knowledge, I'm just an average guy who's got a coach, who's going through the wholesale formula, who's interviewing a lot of people, learning and kind of going through the process. So definitely check out those resources. Melissa says, it's been a couple years and I'm back. Not a newbie, but can you tell me how to search to find real wholesalers? I'm going to post a new video probably in the next hour. And it's with my buddies, Dan and Dylan. We actually go through the entire process, sharing our screen of how we find, we're not looking for wholesalers. What we're looking for is we're looking for brands and manufacturers that fit a specific criteria. And then we're emailing them and making phone calls and getting direct contact with the owner of the company or the sales team to then put together a deal in order to sell their products and get them at wholesale pricing. That's the name of the game. And how do we accomplish that? By adding value to them. There's many ways to add value. I talk about it in a lot of my videos, but that's the name of the game. Melissa, what's up, Nate? I mean, I'm not Nate. Swamp Picker. What's up, Swamp Picker? Good to see you. So yeah, that's about it. Again, if you want to learn more about wholesale, get those 2 free guides down below. Also, we have a free webinar going down this Thursday with my buddy Jason, he's done millions of dollars on Amazon. So you'll definitely want to follow his journey, and I'll be on that webinar taking notes. It's a learning process, and I'm really, really enjoying it. So I will continue to update you all with my journey as I finally bring in my first wholesale product to my account and start selling them. I keep you guys posted in the Facebook group. So with that being said, hope you have an amazing day, and I will chat with you all soon. Have a good one. Bye.